It does not stand for walls and prim. It does not stand for waffles and pancakes. It stands for something else. You probably know. If you don't, go look it up and come back to me. Hello and welcome to the Faster Freedom Show. My name is Sam, and I'm excited that you are with me in the behind the scenes episode of our podcast. To quickly catch you up, Mondays, I release a real estate only, REI only podcast where I do a deep dive on one topic of real estate specifically. It's a quick 10 to 12 minutes, and I can go do a deep dive on one topic. Super valuable. On Wednesdays, that's our main show. Lucas and I chop it up for 30, 45 minutes. We talk about real estate, economics, life, what is going on in the news, business, being dad, just a ton of things that we have a lot of fun talking about. And on Fridays, you are getting the behind the scenes episode where I talk about our businesses and literally show you behind the curtain of what's going on. I talk profit, I talk net income, we talk personnel, we talk pretty much everything. So if you're interested in having a small business, or you have one, or think it's fun to hear the soap opera of what it is to run a small business in today's world, you are going to love those Friday episodes. And that's what we're on right now. Episode 1 of this behind the scenes, I talked about Faster House, our flipping company that does 300 deals a year. Episode 2, I talked about FasterFreedom, my online education and branding company that went from a social media post, one on Facebook, to a multi-million-dollar company. And now today I want to talk to you about Midwest Property Group, my property management company that manages my properties and manages for other people. I'm going to break it down and kind of tell you the structure of it so we can talk about it in the future. The whole point of these first 4 episodes of this podcast are going to be to give you a baseline understanding of what these businesses are, so that when I talk about them in the future and give you concrete case studies or examples, you have a little bit of an understanding. I don't have to repeat what the businesses are every time. So today we're going to talk about Midwest Property Group. And the next episode, on the next Friday, we are going to talk about we're going to talk about STL Reno, my renovation company. But for now, let's talk about Midwest Property Group. So currently Midwest Property Group manages my 290 rental doors, and it manages about 200 more for clients, and we are steadily growing that. So it's an in-house property management company for my rentals, and also does property management for other people's renovation, or other people's, renovated rentals in the St. Louis area. So kind of funny origin story of Midwest Property Group is it started out in 2014. It was the very first LLC that Lucas and I, started, our property management LLC. And it was back in the day, it was actually called WAP Properties, or WAP Properties. Now, enter the Cardi B jokes. This company was started and named after Lucas and myself. Lucas's last name is Walls. My last name is Prim. So WAP, Walls and Prim Properties, because guess what? WP Properties was taken. So we added the A for the and, Walls and Prim Properties. That was just a name of a company that we formed to buy rentals and manage our own rentals. Obviously, we ended up buying a lot of rentals, so we ended up having to eventually change the name, because in 2019, when we owned about 80 rentals and that name was getting out there a little bit, Cardi B came out with the song called WAP. It does not stand for walls and prim. It does not stand for waffles and pancakes. It stands for something else. You probably know. If you don't, go look it up and come back to me. Regardless, we definitely had to change the name because we had tenants asking us why we were called WAP Properties, and we told them WAP Management at the time. That was what our management company was. They thought it was after the song. So at that time, if you paid attention earlier, we had partnered with Brian on a few different companies, Faster House and FasterFreedom. So we partnered with him on a third company called Greater STL Rentals, or GSR, managing rentals in the greater St. Louis area. So that's a company we partnered with Brian on. And when we bought him out of Faster House and FasterFreedom, he bought us out of Greater STL Rentals. So that was his company now. We took Faster House and FasterFreedom, and we formed a new company called Midwest Property Group. makes a lot of sense. We manage properties here in the Midwest, specifically in the St. Louis metro area. So that's kind of the background of the origins of that, which is kind of funny with the Cardi B stuff going on. But right now, I kind of want to walk you through just a quick org chart of what we got going on inside this company, because I really like property management. The margins are extremely low. However, the risk is extremely low as well. My margins in my other companies are much larger. However, in my Faster House, my flipping company, our margins are 20 to 30% depending on the month and the expenses and overhead and a lot of different things. That's good, but we have $6 million, $5 million of our own money, or not necessarily our own money, of like leverage money, like private money or bank loans out at one given time to operate that company for rehabs and purchases. So there's risk with the higher margins. There's no risk besides your overhead. We're not having to buy things. So it's a service-based business that has low margins but is scalable. So what it looks like now is we got myself as owner, Lucas as owner. Lucas kind of acts as a CEO or visionary of this company. And then we have a gentleman named Matt, who is the COO and runs the show. Underneath Matt, we have 2 property managers that manage the properties and the outside clients, as well as us as inside clients. And then below them, we have assistant property managers, 1 of each. Then we have a maintenance coordinator, and then we are starting to build out some technician teams that allows us to not have to hire out things that get done and hire contractors. We can do it in-house. So there's about 4 maintenance techs. And then on the maintenance side, we have somebody named Travis who manages all the maintenance. And then we have a maintenance team of Michael, Dennis, and Robert, so 3 people underneath that. And then we have a turn team who manages the turns of the rental properties when a tenant moves out and there's $2-3 grand worth of work that needs to be done, that needs to be managed. Tim heads up that, and we have a couple different people underneath that. So we have a pretty robust team, and then we have a small finance team that runs finances for that. So we're talking, actively, not including myself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like 15, 16 people within this company. So it's growing because we do a lot of things in-house is why. There are other smaller property management teams, but they're hiring out the electric. They're hiring out the, painting, and they're hiring contractors to do things. And we're taking that in-house to lower costs for us and to be able to make more margin when we do charge the people that we manage for, and we charge a very fair rate, especially for the service that we get. There are very few property management companies out there that actually know what they're doing and care, and we are one of them. We treat our people that we manage for, our owners, just like we would treat our own assets, and that's why we haven't had anybody ever leave us, because our prices are fair, and we do what property management companies are supposed to do. We take care of all the headaches, and we keep vacancy very, very low and have low turnover. That's a huge thing I talk about all the time, is the lower your turnover, the more your cash flow. I don't care what you're getting for rent, market rent, 90% of market rent, 110% of market rent. If you have a tenant move out every year or 2, you're not going to cash flow in today's world. Our tenants stay for a long time, therefore our people we manage more stay for a long time. So it makes us special because we care, we have experience, and we've been doing it for years, and we do it for ourselves, and we're able to maximize AI, maximize technology to get efficient to help our margins be the 5% that they are, help that be, I wouldn't call that healthy, but have that be where it needs to be, but also not charge an arm and a leg. So not really a sales pitch here, but if you're in St. Louis and you want us to manage your properties, or you have properties in St. Louis, hit me up on Instagram. I'll introduce you to the team and see if it's something you're looking to do. So how do we plan on growing? I guess through stuff like this, but probably not really. The biggest way we're growing is through students. So I have a community via FasterFreedom. We have well over 2,000 students. Many of them are very, very actively buying real estate. They buy real estate throughout the entire country in all 50 states. But we have a pretty big local presence, and we have a ton of people that are out of state that buy locally in St. Louis. They keep them as rentals. They usually have us manage them for them because they understand how we work and they appreciate how we do things. So as our student body grows and as our students continue to buy more, that will help us grow. Local network, we have a pretty good local brand through our meetup and a lot of different things we do here locally between Faster House, FasterFreedom, as well as the things that we do within the community. So we'll grow that way. And then we have a new thing I'm going to talk about, one of the new business branches that we launched. I have like 3 business branches that we launched this year that I'm very excited about to talk to you about. But Not right now. This is the introduction of everything that we have here. So we have a new branch of business that we're kind of launching from our current brands that I think is going to really help us grow the property management company very, very quickly. So that's Midwest Property Group. I know that was quick, but that was kind of the point. Next week, we're going to talk about STL Reno, our property and construction management company, and then we are going to start to do deep dives into some of these branches, and I'm going to tell you what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what the hell is going on being an entrepreneur in this crazy world that we live in. So hopefully you appreciate this. If you did, hit that subscribe button, give us a rating and review, depending if you're watching or listening, and we would appreciate you sharing this with a friend, because that's the only way I can grow this. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not pitching you anything. I'm just trying to talk and give you advice based on real life experiences, which is kind of rare these days. See you on the next one.